So this post is not to like bash men at all. It's really just to help people understand, like more so women, the mentality of a man, right? So I just got finished watching Cam's podcast with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and everything that she was saying was definitely true. But the mentality of a man as it pertains to the hierarchy of humans, they don't look at women as being equal to them. They look at women as being inferior to them, right? So it's going to be very hard, like the message that she was trying to convey to him, it's going to be very hard for him to receive it, being the fact of who it's actually coming from. If that message would have came from a man, especially someone of like his, caliber as far as like, success wise, or someone even more like successful than him, a black man, Cam would have received that message more, because what she said was very logical. At the end of the day, if something is not together, then it's broken. And you're out here creating babies, and you have different baby moms. Y'all are all collectively not in the same house, and that means that you're creating broken homes, But like I said, it's just who it came from. Then being the fact that it's a successful black woman, like no matter what race it is, black women, as far as like how people view them, black women are like the epitome, like the scum of the earth as it pertains to how everybody else views them, and so a man is not going to take advice from a woman as he will receive it from another man per se. And I don't understand that, because like for me, well, just being a black man in general, I would definitely take advice from a black woman because I came from one. So, and then I don't know if it's just because I'm a mama's boy, but I pay attention to women, and I understand, like I can tap into both sides. I can tap into my masculine energy and also my feminine side as well, so I understand men and I understand women too. So I understand how men look at women, and they look at them as being inferior to them. And like I said, just how the world views black women, they view them as being at the bottom of the totem pole, so coming from a black woman, it's people just not going to receive it. I mean, even like relationships, you take relationships, marriages, situationships, whatever. Typically the man don't want to hear what the fuck that woman is really talking about. He just want her to really be there for support and shut up and listen. They don't like women having a voice, so, and like I said, it's just, so basically that's in a nutshell. Cam didn't receive the message because who it came from. If it would have came from one of his homies, that's just equally as successful as he is, or if that would have came from, another black man that was even more successful, he would have definitely received the message. But yeah, not coming from a black woman. Nah, I definitely agree with this for sure. Like I said, he just would have received it more. Of course, like people gonna be who they are, and that's just what that is. He a grown ass man, he gonna make whatever decisions he want to. But, she had to like coddle him throughout the interview. He wasn't looking at her like, he was making these like sarcastic subliminal remarks, like it was just, he started to act like a child throughout the interview because she like that ego was shot, and once a man's ego is shot, it ain't really no coming back from that. So, but nah, I agree with this. But like I said, he just would have received it more if it would have came from somebody. But yeah, that nigga gonna be who he gonna be regardless.
I'm not seeing the Cam Newton situation in the interview with that lady. I got it on the screen. I'm not seeing it the same way y'all seeing it. Y'all keep saying, oh, she read him. She ate him up. All I heard was a man who lives in reality and a woman who knows textbook definitions of stupid men. I'm not saying that Cam Newton is smart for what he's doing. I actually, preach against shit like that. I made a video last week saying that the problem with a lot of dating that's going on is the big, tall, rich, handsome guy who make videos talking about, I'll fuck with 4 right now, I don't care. They're the ones who need sexual discipline and they're ruining everything. I agree with that whole premise, right? Cam Newton got 8 kids with 3 women and wants marriage and wants more kids and wooty wooty woo. And the lady talking about, you're not God, you can't do this, you can't do that. But he lives in the reality by which he can, because there's still women, a lot of smart, young, attractive women who will still willingly get pregnant by Cam Newton. So his reality doesn't line up with all her smarts. with every degree she has, she cannot combat that. And that's why when we have these conversations, women get so mad when men try to hold them accountable, because you can't hold Cam Newton accountable. This is one of those situations where it's like, instead of y'all be yelling, like, instead of telling a woman what to wear and where to go, how about we tell grapists to stop graping? You could never do it. I think the grapists know that graping is bad. Telling them to stop, there's literal laws against them. They're not gonna stop. King Von knew murder was illegal. He still did it. Trying to police the villain is crazy. We need to be talking to the women who will willingly get pregnant by a millionaire. Stop it, ladies. Y'all want to get on here with these think pieces talking about look at how bad these men are, woody woo. Half of y'all talking would get pregnant by that man. On purpose. The problem is the women who will still procreate with this man. Y'all get on here, y'all talk about Nick Cannon, y'all talk about all these guys, right? Yeah, he's the guy on top of it who needs to answer for all of it. But why are there still women who will willingly get pregnant by these men? On purpose. Did I ask what? They try and get in his space so that they can get pregnant by him. Baddies, beautiful women, smart women, women who know exactly what they're doing. So you can't tell him that he got this complex and he might be a narcissist and he this and he that and he this, when his reality, all he sees is beautiful young women trying to get pregnant by him. One of y'all are wrong about real life. One of y'all are wrong about real life. As a father, I know it take a lot more than money to raise a child. He got 8 of them talking about he wants some more. But again, there's women who are cool with it. So we can't keep getting on these podcasts, oh, look at how bad of a man this is, look how... Bro, they're being enabled by somebody, and it ain't me. They're being enabled by beautiful young women. That's what's going on.
So everybody's talking about Cam Newton being schooled by Dr. Brian, who I say is a woman who cannot be conquered. Now, he met his match, and I only feel like he called her to interview because he saw the interview that she did with Nick Cannon. She had Nick Cannon with his hands tied around his back. So what did Cam Newton do? As a quote unquote master manipulator, he's like, all right, challenge accepted, because men like that love conquering women like Dr. Brian, because they are so used to manipulating women. They're so used to conquering women. They're so used to getting what they want. And when they see a challenge, they're going to invite it in and want to challenge that and conquer her. So there are 3 key points that I want to make out of this video that I didn't really see too many talking about. For one, he is a master manipulator. He's really good at his words, but he could not keep up with Dr. Brian. He could not keep up with a high functioning, high value woman such as she is. And because he looked at women as something that's easy to manipulate, he stopped listening to her. You saw him smoking on his cigar, his body language. He was tuned out. He was actually gaslighting her, being sarcastic, trying to get her trick up, trying to trick her up out of her words and trying to play on words and getting annoyed eventually. Like, yes, she is very, very long-winded. But let me tell you guys something. As she was talking, I was listening to her. Most men were not listening to Dr. Brian. Cam Newton was not listening to Dr. Brian. Nick Cannon was not listening to Dr. Brian. And let me tell you why. Most men have a short attention span, especially when there is a woman talking. So to men, women are at the bottom of the hierarchy. So when we are talking, they only have so much capacity that they will give us. So if we get to talking so much and we're just talking just to talk as if we're talking to one of our girlfriends, you can tell with a lot of men, if they're not interested, they start to tune out or they start to hit you with the, yeah, oh, okay, wow, that's crazy. I'm pretty sure y'all have heard that before. So even according to a study by Today, men stop listening to women and their partner after about just 6 minutes. If they're talking about their life, friends, and coworkers, if it's nothing that is of interest, they only have a short capacity of time that they are listening to you before they tune you out. And Dr. Brian was long-winded. She was very, very long-winded, which just really pretty much annoyed Cam. And I can say this for myself. I remember being in the manosphere and talking to the men on the panel and trying to reach out to the men. And they just made what I was saying for entertainment as I was trying to get them to understand women and understand a point of view and my point of view. And honestly, ladies, we got to stop talking to men. We're wasting our time. The men who actually want to listen are the men that are in spaces to listen to women. There are also men in women's spaces who are there to distract, cause chaos, and throw you off your game. So you have to be careful of who you allow in your spaces, because a lot of these men come because that's where women are and they want to cause chaos. Then there are men who sit back and actually pay attention and listen and say, okay, I can understand that. I can understand this. I'm listening to understand. But most men think differently from women in every way possible, especially when it comes down to the hierarchy. Men are hierarchical. So therefore, for a man to sit there and listen to a woman talking, he didn't really respect her, nor was he trying to listen to what she was saying. If there was another man talking to Cam and he was of a higher stature, more famous, more money, more respect, up on the hierarchical ladder, and he's higher than him, he would have gave him the respect to sit down and listen to him. He would have gave him the open space to actually be open to listen to him. That's why a lot of women get frustrated when they're dating a guy and it seems like he could talk to his homeboy more than he could talk to you. He can open up to his homeboy more than you. And a lot of women get angry and say, oh my God, he must like men. But at the end of the day, men respect men on a different level than they do with women. So there's only so much advice that a man will take from a woman. Sadly, that's why you have to understand your reality as a woman and stop wasting your breath on men and trying to convince them otherwise, and stop trying to convince them to understand your point, because they don't care about your point. They simply do not care, and you are there for entertainment. The only thing that you can do as a woman so you won't end up like Cam Newton's third baby mama, Jazzy. So you won't end up with a woman like that who is being manipulated, who is being cheated on, who is being tricked out of her spot and tricked out of her values and her morals and her boundaries and her standards. This is a woman who had no kids, who has beauty, who has success. She gave this man access to her womb to become his third baby mama to his 7th, 8th child at this point, and he still wants more. He cheats on her, and then he tries to praise her publicly for being so patient and so kind and so understanding, and basically now everyone is calling her a pick-me.
Pick-me's are women who try to do everything right just so a man can choose me. Yeah, cut that shit out, because I'm gonna keep it real with you. Men already know what they want in a woman and who they want. But if you're so nurturing and you're an asset and it's not you, they'll never tell you to stop doing what you're doing because it's beneficial. And I don't want to hear none of that shit like, oh, I'm just a nice person, I'm genuinely like that. Well, bitch, you gonna genuinely get played.
Submissive woman do for her man?
Everything.
What does that mean?
You know, like packing his bag, unpacking his bag, just making sure all the things that he wants. And like, I pretty much read his mind. So it's like, if I know you and I study you, like I know how you are in the morning, I know how you are about midday, I know when you're in this mood, what you need. Like before you can ever ask me for something, I'm already on it. I mean, he's spoiled. Boy, it is my joy You know, I love to see him eating the meal that I cooked. I love seeing him sleep easy. Every night, like clockwork, I scratch this man's back to sleep. And I know when he's asleep because I can tell when his breathing changes. And some people might think that's psychotic, but that's like, I just know that's when I'm like, oh, I can stop now. But I find joy in being your rest, you know? So know what that means. And that works for us because he wants what I have to offer.
I'm a girl's girl, so I will always try to understand a woman to her core. However, you know, my understanding has limits. If you are a man's first baby mother, okay, like things happen, people break up, people have children young, they learn their lessons, that's fine. If you are a man's second baby mother, however, please listen to me when I say this. The first child is 10, 11, 12, 13, like, okay, I understand your thought process. It's still a no for me because I have a different vision for myself, but I definitely could see where you were going with that. Like if I were you and, you know, I had that mindset, like I get it. If you are a man's third baby mother, because it's for some reason for me, it's always the third. That's when I'm just like, what did he say to you to convince you to do that? And the reason I want to know is because I don't ever want to come across a man that he's that good at selling his product that I get lost in the sauce and I just say, okay, I'll be a third baby mother. So yeah, it's just always the third one. Women can do what they want. Be the eighth baby mother. But it's always that third one where I'm just like, what did he say to you?
And she feels like all I have to do is do what this man wants me to do because other women are not doing it. You'll be real surprised. You're not the only woman that will sacrifice herself for a man. You're just not. No matter what a man tell you, oh, my ex didn't do this, my ex didn't do that, my ex wouldn't do this, she never did this. That is all manipulation. A man is telling you those things because he wants you to do those things for him. And that woman could have very well did those things and stopped doing those things for multiple reasons. We don't know why, but you got to be real careful when someone trying to tell you that because men can shapeshift. Men can lie about who they are. They can lie about their identity. They can lie about their jobs. I mean, Nick Cannon even said it best. He said, if a man wants to conquer a woman, he is going to shapeshift. They are shapeshifters.
They have been equally yoked to your low functioning dysfunction that you have learned to survive in.
Because I use my tools to because first of all, let's you're acting as if I'm entering every scenario with the full me and we all every time someone meets someone, you're meeting their representative. I know how to turn on the perfect man.
Depending
and
on
so
the
therefore
person,
I may have manipulated a situation and therefore so it's to no discredit to anyone else,
I got you.
I've come into every situation. I can be God-fearing, celibate, the one that you want. I can tell you everything that you want in a man and show you that. I can open the doors, lay down the cloak, send the jet, do it all to be like, oh my goodness, I've never. And then Toxic Nick shows up, and you like, this motherfucker got me.
No, but
he done gave me the draws, and I ain't heard from him in 3 weeks.
What you said is perfect. No, what you said is perfect because you named all of the low functioning super.
And this is why it's so important because men will mimic what you want. To never tell a man what you actually want out of a man. If a man is saying, what do you want out of your life in the next 5 years? What would that look like? What kind of man would that be? Don't ever tell a man what you are looking for in a man because all they are going to do is study you, watch you, and move accordingly. And they're going to act like everything that you said that you wanted in a man, and you're going to be in la la land and fairy tale land because you have this fairy tale ideology of what type of man that you want that does not exist. Okay, like you're living in fairy tale land, like Dr. Bryant said, that most women are 70% of her clientele, 70% of women that she have run across are low functioning, and only 40% of men are low functioning, because men mostly live in reality. They have no choice but to live in reality. Women, on the other hand, we actually do have a benefit. We actually do have the privilege, per se, to live in fantasy land, but that blows back up in our face, because we can live in fantasy land all we want to, but reality is going to hit us hard in the face.
This might step on some toes, but a lot of people don't know what a low-functioning woman is. And in light of Dr. Bryan's interview with Cam Newton and Nick Cannon, I just want to give some real-world situations of how this can be relatable to you as well. And before I go down those facts, I just want to state that these men are not comprehending what she's asking. They were just called out and did not want to answer the questions in which they were being asked, like most men that we encounter. But Dr. Bryan is right. A lot of these women would have never crossed their paths if they were high-functioning women. And they felt insulted, like I only get the baddest of bitches. Maybe on the outside, but on the inside, the women are clearly struggling internally. And I hate to tell you, but men know exactly who they can play with. Do you have multiple kids by the same man, but he refuses to ask you to marry him? Does your boyfriend or the guy you've been exclusive with talk to other women, but you refuse to leave him? Is he physically and verbally abusive, but yet you always come up with the excuse of, I'm scared to leave of what he may do to me or my kids? Are you easily manipulated? Y'all support Ekane and her foolishness, but she is a walking definition of a low-functioning woman. There is no monetized amount that you can present to me that'll make me the 5th, 6th, or 7th baby mama, or 3rd. And I'll never say don't talk to nobody who has kids, because I have a kid. I'm a single mother, and I do crave for love. But if you see somebody intentionally reproducing in multiple households and they're not present in those households, why would you go and do the same thing with this man? And what's even crazier is, even though they've done this interview and the public has seen it, there are still women who are going to crawl into their drawers. And they know this. That's why I don't mind walking away from a situation now, because I've come into my high functioning, okay? And there's always a woman who's willing to do what I'm not. Dr. Bryan said, we teach what we know, but we create who we are. And I love that. We are not victims of our circumstance, okay? So get out of this low vibration and this low functioning and tap into your high functioning. The more we hold these men accountable for their actions, what was it? Shame, bringing shame back? They may start to actually act right. But if there's always going to be that handful of people who are allowing it to happen, we'll always run into these problems. Start holding these folks accountable with change actions, not words.
So what I've learned from Dr. Bryan and how she is a high-functioning woman, for one, she loves her children before they are even here. And this is one thing that I respect for women who decided to not have children before meeting the right man and having certain standards and not giving up her womb to a man before marriage. I have 2 kids, so I can speak from this. A woman who saving her womb, right? And actually being okay with never having children because she loves her children so much before they even get here. She will rather not bring them here if the environment is not right. That is a woman who has self-awareness. That is a woman who has faced a certain shadow side of herself. That is a woman that is elevating into a high-functioning woman because she is protecting her future children and generations. She said, I'd rather not even see you guys here if I can't bring you in the right way. I will sacrifice my own wants if it's not right for my children, because I got to break this generational curse. And that's what Dr. Bryan was emphasizing. She would rather not bring in children in this world if it's not in the right environment because of her trauma. Now, a lot of us, we use our trauma as an excuse to just, we don't know any better. We use our trauma as okay, I thought he loved me because of our trauma and because of our dysfunction, we don't even know how to love correctly or what love would look like. Or we think that, our love is just big enough. We'll just bring in a child into a effed up situation and I'll love them as much as I can. But we're not really thinking outside of ourselves. So regardless if you have a child or not, you have to hurt your own feelings before you get out here in this dating world, because it's wolves in sheep's clothing. There's a lot of wolves out here. There's a lot of manipulators. There's a lot of shapeshifters. So the only way to really, really protect yourself is, for one, you need to face your shadow side. I think a lot of people run from their shadow side because we want to believe that we are all good people, that we do the right thing every time. But reality is we don't. And we all have a shadow side. Some people are manipulators. Some people are liars. Some people have things where they have anger issues. Some people are narcissists. Some people are sociopaths. I don't know, but there's things about people where it's like, you shouldn't be ashamed of those anger issues. You shouldn't be ashamed of your impulsiveness. You shouldn't be ashamed of those things, because all of us have a shadow side. And those who hide from those shadow side, those are the people that are dangerous. Those are the people that you need to run from. All of us have a shadow side. And when you actually face your shadow side, you will actually start operating out of a high functioning level, because you will actually be able to address these issues. So when you are triggered, you don't look at the other person and say, hey, you're not allowed to trigger me. No, people are going to trigger you. You cannot control other people. The only person that you can control is yourself. And when you are high functioning, you take yourself out of environments where you're being triggered, and you also talk to yourself and face that shadow side. Ask yourself, why am I triggered? What's triggering me? What am I going to do about it? How am I going to handle it? Because that is what a high functioning person is going to do. They're going to address their issues, and they're going to acknowledge them, and they're going to move forward in love and grace for themselves each and every time. So going back to my last point, ladies, you are going to have to be okay with being single. You are going to have to stand if your boundaries, and you want something for yourself, and you want a certain life for your future children, or you want a certain life for your children now, even after you had them, you have to hurt your own feelings. You may have invested a couple of months, a couple of weeks, or even a couple of years with someone. But when it's time to let go and it's no longer serving you, it is time to let that situation go. You got to hurt your own feelings because you love yourself enough to walk away from that situation and not keep giving that man babies, not keep wasting your time, not keep wasting your youth, not listening to the breadcrumbing where he's feeding you. Oh, I'm going to marry you. I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for you. No. It's time for you to stand up for yourself and actually stand on some boundaries. Don't be a pick-me. What is a pick-me? A pick-me is also a victim to me. Most women who are pick-me's, they go from male worship to being in cults. You have to address why you are so easily manipulated. For example, I know that all too well. If you are someone who is easily manipulated, you really, really need to tap into your shadow side and address why you are so vulnerable to believe people. Why are you so dependent on people? Why do you feel like everyone's a good person? Why can't you see people for who they actually are and what they are actually showing you, and not try to make up who this person is in your mind? So if you are someone that run across a pick-me, or maybe you are a pick-me or a former pick-me, it's all brainwashing under this system. And if you are a pick-me, you have a fear of being alone and running across a good man and losing him. And so you're trying to do everything that you can and everything that costs you yourself to please another person, because you are people pleasing. And one thing that I found out about Jasmine is that she is a people pleaser, that she finds comfort out of pleasing this man because she's trying to save this man. And she's trying to save this man by showing him that I will love you through your thick and thin, and I will go to hell for you. See me. Hopefully you see me. And reality is, you can pour into somebody. You can go to hell for somebody. You can give that man the greatest gift on earth, which is a baby. You can provide. You can give that man money. You can give him them the best sex. You can do all these things for this person. That does not guarantee you that this person is going to pour back into you. That is what's going to get you messed up, is that you think, I'm just going to pour all into this person. And maybe they're going to pour back. Maybe they're finally going to marry me. Maybe they're going to finally commit. And you're setting yourself up for failure. All right, guys, thank you for watching this video, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you feel like women should be talking to men, or should we just allow the men to talk to the men and let the women talk to the women? And at first I used to get mad when they used to say that, but now I fully understand. And you got to be careful what type of woman that you're talking about, because you could be talking to extreme women. And on either side, extreme women who hate all men, or extreme women who hate women and is a certified pick me and mammy. You have to be careful. You have to listen to the own voice in yourself and understand that you are smart enough to lead yourself. You were born here by yourself. You will die here by yourself. Therefore, be careful who you listen to. Be careful at the content that you observe, and understand that you are smart enough and wise enough to lead yourself. And you're the only person who can save you. No one else can. All right, guys, until next time. Bye.